The very basis of superhero movies consists of a sympathetic hero who must respond to a villainous threat. Generally, the hero must overcome certain obstacles, whether it be dealing with internal struggle or obtaining a boon that augments the hero's powers. Thus, in a movie like Spider-Man, we first see the protagonist fail to defeat his enemy before eventually becoming triumphant through wit or pure strength. However, MCU has introduced several villains who are, for all intents and purposes, undefeatable. The first that comes to mind is of course Thanos with his fully assembled Infinity Gauntlet. He does indeed emerge victorious, as he proves to be too powerful for the combined strength of Earth's mightiest heroes. The other two examples come in the form of Dormammu, an interdimensional entity who rules over the Dark Dimension, and the Scarlet Witch, a being capable of reshaping reality. Unlike Thanos in Infinity War, both Dormammu and the Scarlet Witch lose at the end of their respective storylines. However, neither of them could be defeated in classic superhero fashion. Doctor Strange, the protagonist in the movies where these villains were featured, never grew powerful enough to stop them outright. One he beat by looping time using an Infinity Stone, the other was emotionally manipulated into realizing the error of her ways by another character entirely. Such villains are fascinating for many reasons, but the first that comes to mind relates to the creativity that must be utilized in order to devise a probable way to stop them. As you all well know, willing suspension of disbelief only goes so far. Even in fantasy fiction, there are limits to what the audience is willing to believe. Yet, only one of the three villains was actually defeated in a deservedly believable manner. You see, Thanos himself destroyed the stones. The first time they kill him in Endgame, he's merely a husk of his former self. The final defeat of Thanos comes due to Tony Stark's technology being advanced enough to harness the stones. Do observe, however, that to achieve the same effect, Thanos had to travel to Nidavellir, a place where they make, to quote one charming raccoon individual, the most powerful, horrific weapons to ever torment the universe. Now, Stark was doubtless a genius, but universe-tormenting weapons? Not quite. Thanos ultimately fell because he was written to fall. Nothing the Avengers did affected the outcome much, if at all. The defeat of the Scarlet Witch was strange, no pun intended, to say the least. Throughout the movie, other characters attempt to evoke empathy in her, but she discards all of that because she has a single goal in mind: to be with Billy and Tommy, the children she created in Westview and the children she has in other universes. The thing that derails her from this quest is that America Chavez opens a portal through which her children in a single universe can see her as the monster she became. When she realizes that her children fear her, she also realizes the folly of her quest and abandons it. But why? Has the Scarlet Witch not accounted for the idea that actual children would be afraid of a monstrous figure? I must concede, however, that the ending makes sense as a sort of way out for a character that has, for the most part, been a hero in previous movies. Thus, she was never truly evil, but purely blinded by grief. Still, it is difficult to shake the feeling that she was, like Thanos, simply written to fall. But isn't every villain written to fall, you might ask? My answer to that is that the fall of the villain is the assumed end of every superhero story. Thus, the audience knows that the heroes will emerge victorious. The interest is, therefore, focused on the means by which the defeat is achieved. Stark's stack being able to harness the stones that, to quote beloved masters of mystical arts, each control an essential aspect of existence seems ridiculous, both when they do it with Hulk and when they repeat it in the finale. As beautiful as it was to hear him say "I am Iron Man" and snap the fingers, and as much as I enjoyed it in the moment, there exists a lingering thought that it simply escapes the confines of my suspended disbelief. However, when Strange figures out that bringing time into Dormammu's dimension will force him to yield, it presents a culmination of everything that movie was trying to build. To entrap a destroyer of worlds, Strange utilizes his mind, abilities, selflessness, and an actual Infinity Stone. Stop the Scarlet Witch, on the other hand, an entity who is either to rule or annihilate the entire cosmos, they make her realize that killing people is bad. Go figure.